So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the amazing Angular live stream course. I'm so excited for today's session because in today we are going to discuss a very important topic that without which no website can exist. Forget about Angular. No website can exist without forms. Now in Angular, we have two kind of forms, template driven and reactive forms. Today we'll be covering reactive forms, and in about 12 hours from now we have another live stream in which I plan to cover template driven forms. Now, before we get into that, and you are looking at my screen, you're looking at this website, before we get into the forms, I just want to tell you where this website came from and what are we doing here if you're here for the first time. So if you're here for the first time, first of all, welcome. And we have been going for 6 videos now. This is the 7th video today, and we have been building this website. Now, if you're interested, you can see what we have covered. We have covered introduction, initial setup, and then we went into application layout using Angular materials, schematics, and Bootstrap. Now, my whole idea here is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm not a very creative person making beautiful websites. What I love doing is I love to basically leverage what we already have and then build your website. So I'm using application layout by Angular Material. I don't need to build it on my own. All websites have a sidebar, a header, etc. And most people are not that creative and should not try different things because in the end they waste more time, they're never happy with the website, and the end result is not very clean. So you can try and you can definitely learn if that's your passion. But if your passion is just to make things work, to make things that are good and you can actually use them, well, I recommend you to follow the path that I've been following rather than focusing on how it should look and how the button should feel and what should happen when we click on it. And that's the whole reason we move to things like Angular, React, and Vue, right? We don't want to mess up with the primitive things that waste our time. Anyways, moving forward, we went into services and dependency injection, pipes, Angular material list. Now, this video course, live course, is heavy into Angular material, schematics, and Angular concept. Then we mastered Angular routing and navigation. There's so much to uncover there, but we touched the surface and we understood a lot of things there. Then we have mastering communication with the backend services with HTTP. Now, HTTP is very important concept. This is one of the few things that every website needs. Every website needs to be contacting with the backend service. So that's what we did. Another video on the same thing using the free API we used for fetching the cryptocurrencies because this is such an important topic. This video is going to be for Angular reactive forms, and the next one is template driven forms. Now, if you're wondering what is reactive form, what is template driven, I'll just give you a brief 30-second overview. Reactive forms are more quote unquote complicated for most people, but the reason is that it gives you a lot of flexibility. It allows you to basically control your form from your TypeScript, from your code rather than from HTML. You can add values, patch values, you can add dynamic form input. Let's say you have an ingredient list and you want the list to increase based on users input on the website. Well, you can add dynamic input variables basically just using a reactive form, and you can add more control, you can add more validation, more custom things you can add to it, and you will understand most of it in a couple of minutes. The second one, the template driven form, is mostly for the front end. Basically, when you have simple forms, let's say a login form where you just require a username and a password, in those cases, you can use a template driven form. It is very powerful, but it lacks flexibility. Now, we'll be going to the tough one first, which is quote unquote reactive forms, and then we'll cover template driven forms, as I said, about 12 hours from now. Now, as you can guess, I'm fetching these cryptocurrencies by an API. So this is not a hard-coded data. As you can see, Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies are not doing very well today, but that's fine. This is the website. We have the famous cryptocurrencies by market cap. When we click on something, it goes to the details page, which we haven't built yet. This is the header, the sidebar, and everything. I plan to make a sign-up page today. Now, in the sign-up page, what do we usually have? First of all, let me bring the Visual Studio Code in front of you. Okay, so we have the app component. Now, if you haven't seen how this website is built and you're interested, go ahead and see the video. I have the GitHub page linked to the description down below where you will see week 1, week 2, week 3, and all the code that you necessarily need to understand. You will get that very easily. Now, the first thing, the most important thing in reactive forms is actually importing the reactive form module, because a lot of people just go to Google, copy paste, and then in the end they're not they're not sure why the form isn't working, and that is because there's a module needed to import, and we import that first. But let's just talk about the structure. How do you want, which route should the user go to when you want the sign up page? I'm planning to build something like this, auth slash sign up. Obviously, this page doesn't exist right now, but that is what I want. So auth would be kind of the parent, and then sign up and login and so on and so forth, forward password, etc. So let's build that module. Now, first of all, as I said, I'm lazy, and so should you be. So let's build the lazy loaded module, NGGM. If you don't know what lazy loading is, check out our videos. We have an amazing video on what lazy loading is, like with respect to all websites and all languages and all frameworks. And then we have a specific one on Angular as well, where I'll show you how you can do it yourself. Now, I'll remove myself from the screen for now so that you can see the code better. So NGGM, and let's say auth sign up. If you can't see what I'm typing, let me know. I'll zoom in more. Auth sign up. And then what I need to do is I need to tell the module it is going to start from. So app module and the route, I guess, which should be auth sign up. Let's see if this does the trick or it gives me some errors. Okay, it looks like something happened. If I go to my app routing module, let's see what it has done. It has created an auth sign up route, very good, with the load children. So basically, this is the syntax for lazy loaded pages, which is very important. It's a very important concept. You have to understand how it works. Then auth sign up module, and here we have a sign. I think this is good. I really like what they have done. Now, I didn't actually want to add the sign up component. I just wanted to sign up. Oh no, actually this is perfect. I think this is perfect. Okay, so we have the sign up module and everything. Let's first of all import Reactive Forms module. So this is the first thing we need to do. This is very important, obviously. Now, after importing this, what can we do is we can start building our form, obviously. Now, let's go to the HTML file. And first of all, let's see if this page works now. So if I refresh, it does not say that page doesn't work. It says sign up works. It doesn't say page does not exist. So that's good. Our form is actually working. Our Angular has picked up our form. Now, obviously, what we can do is we can just add some simple things on the top of our page, which would be like a heading and those things. So I'll just add them quickly. I know you already know these things, but in case you don't, well, let's just see now. So I'm using Bootstrap. So I'll be making a container first, and then let's say row. And I want some margin on the top. So let's say empty4 or empty3 should do fine. Then call 12. Now, if you don't know about these things, well, go check out our initial videos of this playlist because you will find a lot of meaningful videos where I cover Bootstrap and basically I'm go walk you through with the basic things. Okay, so first of all, this is our layout. What does this mean is I want it to cover the full screen if it's a small size screen, but if it's a large size screen, because I'm just creating a small form just with 4 fields, I don't need to take the full screen. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 1/3 of the screen and I'm putting it in between, in the middle of the screen. You will see what I'm saying in a couple of minutes. I want a mat card. Now, mat card again is a material component, and if you don't know, check out our material video. And here, what I'll say is I want it to be in the center. I want the content inside it to be in the center, anyways. Okay, it's giving me an error that mat card is an unknown Angular component. So what do we need to do is you need to go to the Angular material website. You need to find the card component, which I'm trying to right now. Let's say I found this. There must be an API which says what you need to import. So let's import this first. We go to the module and let's add the import. Okay, this should work now. Let's see if it, yep, the error is gone. Now, if I go to my website, you see a small card here, like a border, and it's like out of the screen. It's coming out of the screen. So that's my card. So that looks good. It's in the center of the screen. Now let's add the heading. So obviously I will use mat card header. Inside this, I can use mat card title. So it's very intuitive. You will start picking it up very easily. So let's say create account or sign up, whatever you might want, whatever kind of form you're creating. You don't have to be creating the same thing, but it just helps. And let's see how it looks. Okay, so I have my create account. That looks good to me. Perfect. Okay, what else? What's the next thing I need to do? I think I should add an image on the left. I think it will look good. So I have an image saved in my downloads. I'll just bring it to my Visual Studio Code. Where should I store it? The images should go into assets. And actually, what you can even do is you can create assets and then images, and then save the image there. That's pretty good. I'll add the image now. How to add the image on the mat card header? Well, that's something I'll show you right away. So first of all, you can do img tag. Obviously, you can close it. I can do the source, which is assets images bitcoin.png and mat card avatar. Now they call it mat card avatar, so I'll be using the same thing. Now let's see how it looks. Looks pretty good to me. What about you? Let me know in the comments below if I should be using another cryptocurrency symbol or anything like that, or if I should not be using any image here. I personally like this one, so let's go ahead with this one right now. Now the next thing is we are done with the header, we are done with everything. Now the main thing comes, the meat, mat card content. Now for the content, we have two options right now. I can either start creating my form, bloat this file, or I can create another component for my form itself, which would look way cleaner and way better. So I'll just create a component. I don't need it to be a lazy loaded component now because obviously it's not a different page, it's the same page. NGGC, let's see if I can do it, auth, sign up, and sign up form. Let's see if this helps. It says command not found. And okay. And G is missing. Okay, let's see what happened now. So we have no. I think okay, I messed up and I'll show you how you can avoid that. So I used backslash, but Angular wants me to use the forward ones, I guess. That's the only thing that was missing. Now let's see. Okay, now it's perfect. So I have the auth module. In auth, I have the sign up module. In sign up module, I have my everything, my routing and everything. And then inside it, I have the sign up form. Now, if it's looking confusing, that means that you are not familiar with how Angular works and how we can use component and modules to basically structure our application in a great way. But if not, don't worry. You can watch our couple of initial videos. You'll get a pretty good idea. So now I just need to bring in the sign up form, and that's it. That is the only thing that will be on this page. Now this page will be just 15 lines and will never grow because as long as our sign up form stays inside it, why do we need to grow this page? So basically we are separating concerns. We are not bloating this file with hundreds of lines. Now in the sign up form though, we will actually start creating a form now. Let's see if I refresh my page, if it works. Sometimes I need to restart the Angular, but that's fine. There might be some, because I imported an incorrect thing in the beginning, so maybe it added this module, which I don't really need. So I'll remove that, remove these unnecessary imports. Okay, compiled successfully, that's good. Let's see my website. Okay, it says sign up form works. So basically my component is working and it's inside the material card. That's pretty good. I'm very happy with it. If you have any questions, let me know in the live or in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Finally, let's start the form. Now in here, I don't need the container. I don't need anything because this is already inside a mat card, which is inside a container, inside a row, and everything is handled. So I just need to focus on the form here, nothing else. Okay, that's great about using components. So I'll create a form, right? In the form, I can just start making my inputs, right? But not really. I would be using Angular material input because, to be honest, they are much more beautiful, a lot better than what I could do, and they have a lot of features like adding icons and everything. So I'll be using the things they have already made for us. So for the form field, what do I need to import? I need to import mat form field module. So there you go. I will import that in a heartbeat. It's giving me an error. Maybe my Visual Studio Code is not really importing it on its own. So I'll do that. No problem. Okay, so there you go. I have my field module. Now, here in my form, I don't need the sign up component anymore because I'll be working in the form itself. What I'll do is I'll first of all bring a mat form field. Okay, I want it to be about 75% of the width I have. So W75. Okay. Inside here, I will add a mat label, and the label will be name because I want name, email, password, and confirm password. I just want four fields, right? So, and then an input inside this, which I'll say mat input, and type obviously text because it's just the name. I think text is by default the type, but I'll be explicit and tell it. And then the form control name. Now, form control name is something we don't really have. So where does this come from? How to add this? Let's go into it right now. So as you can see, this is my uh, input. It's not looking very beautiful, but don't worry about it. We'll make it look good very soon. What I want to do is let's also add some padding, some margin on the top because it doesn't really look good to me. Okay, perfect. Now I'll also change the appearance. I'll say appearance. Okay, perfect. Now, the first thing I need to do is, and I think that's causing an error, which is I don't really have my form created here. So first of all, let's create a form. So what I need to do is basically you just need to tell, as I said, it's a reactive form. You need to implement or create that form in your component. So I'll say sign up form. It's a form group type. And I'll say new form group. Okay, so bear with me if you don't understand it. I'll explain everything right away. Because it's live, I have to make sure that what I'm going to explain and what I'm going to code actually works. So just bear with me till then. And the name is new form control. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm telling it that it's a form group. Now, in a we have form controls. For example, name is an input field. It can be called a form control, and some other everything in your form, every individual thing in your form can be called a form control, right? So that's something you should understand and you should keep in mind that name is a form control, email would be a form control, etc. Now you could have created all of them individually. I could have said name variable is equal to new form control and use that in my template. But why should I do that? I have a natural form, that's not just one field. And in a form, I have multiple fields. So to link them with each other, I am using a form group. In a group, you can add multiple controls. So that's how it works. So the next thing would be email, and that would also go inside this group. It would be a next field in my group. Okay. Now it takes two fields in parameters. First of all is the value, initial value, and the second is what validations do you want to add, right? Because as I said, reactive forms are controlled from the template, are controlled from the TypeScript file. So you have to add everything on the TypeScript side and not really on the HTML side. It's a little different than how usual form works, but it's very powerful and you'll see why. Let's see if it's giving us some errors. We should fix them right away. Okay, it says that form control name must be used with the parent form. group directive. As I said, again, we have created the form group, but we haven't really linked it with our HTML, right? How would my HTML know that a form group there exists? So let's inform our form that we have a form group in our TypeScript file, which it can actually use. So I will say sign a form, right? Now let's see if it works. Okay, it says that's good. We have another error now that it should be specified with a name attribute. No, nothing matches here because it has name here, as you can see in the form control, right? You can see it has a name, but HTML file doesn't have any name component or name field, right? Because form control name, if I just add name here, so it will be able to match and link them. And now these errors should go away. Mat form field must contain a map form field control. Okay, let's see what this error is and how can we fix it. I have the mat form field module. Oh, I think I'm missing the mat input module. Yes, I think I didn't add it. And I'm using the mat input style. Now I'm using material library and I didn't really add all the imports, so that's on me. So I'll just quickly add the import right now. Let's see if it fixes some things. In the end, I also need a button, so I'll just add that right now so that I don't forget later and don't waste your time. Okay, let's see if it fixes some errors. If I go back to my HTML, okay, that looks pretty good to me now. So I have my form, no errors, and I have this beautiful looking form over here. Now, as you can see, it's very beautiful, and I have used appearance outline. If I remove that, it would be a default version, this one. But I prefer the outline one. It's really up to you. There are 3 or 4 different types. You can have a look at the documentation. I prefer the outline, so I'll stick with it so that it comes with the box and everything. Now, let's just quickly add the other fields and then we'll add some validation and then you'll see what you can do to basically submit your form and accept the form components, basically everything that's written in the form by our user. Now, just before we do that, I also have to show you one small thing. As I said, this is the default value. So if I write my name, it should come with my name, right? So this is the default value. Now, let's say after some logic, you're getting some things from the backend and you need to wait for it to complete. So after that, you can even on any point of time, you can say this dot sign a form dot patch value, right? Let's say you want to update it later. So here it accepts 2 things. First of all, let's say name and then Bob. Let's see if it works. So you see, you can actually patch values on the go wherever you want, whenever you want. And that is one of the great powers of a reactive form. We don't really have to do that, but I just had to tell you. I just had to explain that to you because it's very important. Now I'll quickly just add the other fields. We have email. So email should be required, but it also should be a valid email type. So we have a lot of validation features that Angular provides, and you can have a look at the documentation. Let me know. I can also add them in the comments below or in the description below. And then we have the password. So what I want to check is I want to check 2 things now. I want to check if it's required, if it's there, because that's very important. I also want to check if the minimum length, not min length is 5. I don't want to accept passwords that are less than 5 in length. And obviously you can add regex and everything for your security and depends on the kind of application you're building. For me, just min length 5 is good enough. And in the end, I also want a confirm password. Right? And I'll say start with empty and it's also required. Okay, so this is my form. I have my name, email, password, and confirm password. Now it will give me an error because if I don't implement them in my HTML, you won't be able to see anything. Let's see if we go here. You don't see anything because we have just created the TypeScript version. We haven't really touched the HTML one. So let's just quickly add them. Okay, so email. So in the input, I want it to be type email, obviously. I want the form control name to be, again, email. Nothing too fancy here. And then password, type password, and this will be password as well. Okay, now the final thing is confirm password, type password, and this would be, what was the name here? Confirm password. So I'll just copy that, put it here. Okay, this should work. Let's see if we have our things. Pretty good. It's looking pretty good. We have all our components. This is a little shorter than the others. Let's see why is that. Okay, now as you can see, it's filling up with some Chrome pre-existing data because I haven't really entered anything, and this is the Chrome autocomplete, and we can actually disable that by basically just saying that autocomplete is, let's say, email. That should work. And if I go here and write autocomplete, I can say it's a new password. And that will tell Chrome that it's a new field, it's a new sign up, it's a new password. So don't really try to fill anything. So that's great. It works now. Password. There was a typo there, so I'll remove that. Okay, so it looks good. We have all the form components here. Now the only thing missing is the button below. So let's just add that because why not? Again, I don't like styling much. You can say I don't like it, or you can say I'm not very good at it. I don't mind, but to be honest, I'm not very good at it, and that's why I don't like it. So I want it to be a matte raised button. I want the color to be primary. What else can we do? I want the type to be submit. Okay, so we have the button here. So that's looking good. It's looking like a legit sign up form. We have the email, password, and everything. And it also gives us the red background when we don't fill it because these are required fields. So if I refresh and I say Pranav, I say Pranav again, it's still red. It's red because I have filled it, but it also needs to be an email. So unless it's an email, it will keep giving me the error, right? Same for the password. If the password is in 4 length, it will be red. It's giving me an error. It's trying to tell the user that there's some error. But a very important thing is missing. The user doesn't know what the error is. So it's our responsibility to show the error message here, right? So next we'll do that, and that's very powerful. And you can obviously see how good reactive forms are because we are controlling everything from the TypeScript, and you can also look for changes and changes in value and add dynamic things. But that's a lot of concepts, and you don't need to worry about them right now. We are just building a basic sign-up form with the basic things that it needs to have. Okay, so I'll remove this. And now let's try adding the component itself, the basically the error fields. And also, one thing that really bothers me is the sign up button is not blocked. We can actually click it. So the user, even if user sees the red messages, he or she would be able to click on the button. But the button should be disabled, right? But it should be enabled when the form is not invalid. So how can we do that? Let's do that first. I'm more excited about that, to be honest. So first of all, we need to control what happens when user submits. So I'll go here and I'll write ng submit because that's how it works. You have to write ng submit to basically, so to call a method in your TypeScript file. So I'll say on submit or on sign up, whatever you want. This name totally is your choice. I'll create a method and I'll just do for now console.log console.log. We can use this dot sign form dot, I guess, value. That should do the trick. As you can see, it's very easy because everything is in TypeScript file, so it's very easy to access them. Okay, now let's, no, not the page source. I wanted to inspect it. Open the console. So let's say I'm writing Pranav and I'm submitting. So as you can see, it says that I have red fields. It says I have missing fields, or basically it's trying to give an error, but still the user was able to submit and I was able to get the output. Now that's bad. You don't want that. That's bad user experience, because in the end, in step 2, 3, 4, or 5, you will be saying that your information is missing, you didn't fill it completely, so please do it again. And that's worst thing for the user. You should never do that. So how can we fix that? What we can do is we should go to our TypeScript file, and we should, or actually we can even go to our HTML file directly, and we should start looking for errors and giving the user some valid errors, right? And to stop the button from being clicked, what I can basically do is I can say it should be disabled, but on a condition, right? I don't just want it to be disabled forever. So I'll add the brackets so that I can add the conditions, and I'll say when the sign form is not invalid. So when the sign form is valid, not, so it means when the sign form is invalid, this button should be disabled. So let's see if it works. So as you can see now, the button is gray. I can't click it. And if I write my name, then an email, then a password. Now if I click on sign up, now it says confirm password, email, name, and password. So that's pretty good. Now the button only works when my form is valid. If it's invalid, so if I remove something, it doesn't work. Perfect. I'm really happy with it. I hope you are too. I hope you are learning something. And if you are, go ahead and hit the like button before you see the rest of the video, because that's what gives us motivation, and that's what tells us that I should create more videos like this, and Kritika should create more videos like this. So you have to tell us if you like it, if it helps you, because that's really important. Okay, going back to the error. Now, mat form fields come with a great inbuilt feature in which you can print the errors. So I will use mat error, and I'll say name is in bold required, right? It should work. Okay, name is required. So if I go here, I remove, it says name is required. So that's awesome. That's really great. It gives me an error. Now, if you want to be really explicit, because in the next one you will see, I'll have two kind of error messages. One can be that the email doesn't exist, so email is required. And the second one can be that it's not a valid email. So how can we do that now? Because this is just one single error, but I want it to be multiple errors based on what kind of incorrect input the user has done. So let's see how we can do that. Mat error, and then I can add same thing with the email. So like email is required. Close the strong thing, and let's see how it looks. And you'll understand what I was trying to say. So if I go here and I remove, it says email is required. So that's the perfect error. We want that error. But if I enter something else, it still says email is required, but I have actually entered the email. The error message should be different. Now, how can we do that? What I can do is I can add another mat error field. And in this one, I can say, please enter a valid email address. Now, let's see how it works, right? We can do that. We can do this. Okay, let's go back. Enter, and it says please enter a valid email address and email is required. That's not what I wanted. And if I fill something, it's still the same thing. I want specific error messages. So basically, you just have to add the if conditions. Ng if. Now, let's see what I'll do. I'll say sign up form dot. It comes with a star. I don't know why Visual Studio Code doesn't like me today. Dot get, right? I get the email field first. So this is how I'm going to the email field. So I went from the sign up form. I'm in the email field control. And now I'll say if it has error, right? If it has error of type email, I want to display this. So basically what I'm saying is every error has a type. Errors are can be of multiple types, and I want to display the error based on the type of error it generates. So let's see if what I do is I'll do 112 and it still says email is required. That's not what I wanted. So let's see what I'm doing wrong here. It says if the sign up form has error email and I'll just copy this thing. And if the sign up form email does not have the error required, display this. Please enter a valid email address. And the lower one should just be ngif. Okay, let's see. So what I'm saying is if we have a required error, show this message. If I have a email error, right, and I don't have a required message, only then show this one. Let's see if it actually works and let's see if you made a mistake or not. So here I'm going to remove my mouse away. So it says email is required. That looks good. Now if I write something, it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show my error type. Why is that? So I have a mat error. So let's see what mistake we did here. We have sign up form dot get email has error email, and it doesn't have the error required. Well, that looks good to me. I don't know why we are not getting the error mess. Let's see if we have any errors on the console. It can't bind ngif. Oh, am I missing something in my ngif? Why? Why it can't bind ngif? Ngif is just a regular Angular property, right? Oh, I'm missing. They should be capital I. Oh my god. They should have been capital I. That's it. Okay, I feel so stupid right now. Anyways, so if I go here again, let's final take. If it doesn't work, I'm quitting. So now it says, please enter a valid email. Perfect. If there's nothing, it says email is required. I have perfect messages based on my errors. Now, obviously, you get the idea. You can do the same thing with password. So for the password, I've already written it on the side. So I'll just copy paste that. So I'm saying if the minimum length doesn't match, it says password should be at least 5 characters. And if I say just the required error is there, show password is required. So let's see if it works. So if I don't do anything, password is required, right? And if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no error. But if I do just 1, 2, 3, 4, it says password should be at least 5 characters. So it's working perfectly. I'm so happy with it. Let's see if it's actually in mobile view it works. In mobile view, it's totally flexible. It goes with responsive, I should say. It goes with the size of the screen. If I rotate my mobile, it's still looking very beautiful. And there you go. You have your reactive form and you have your form with validations, with everything you want. And in the end, you will click sign up and you will be able to basically get the user data that the user filled. Now, there are a couple of things that I haven't covered today, which I wanted to, but it has already been a 40-minute video, so I won't push it longer because then people can be a little reluctant to click on it and see it later. So I'll stop this video right now. I'll tell you what I have planned to cover in the later videos. As you can see, the password and confirm password, they are not really linked to each other, right? I can enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can enter A, B, C, D, E, F. They don't show me an error. I want this to be changed. I want that the confirm password should depend on the password field above. And if it doesn't match, it should show an error. It should say the passwords field don't match or something like that. So that is one thing I want to add, which I'll add in later videos. Let me know if you want a live stream for that or if you want a pre-recorded video. I can do both. And the next thing is, which is very important, which is to actually connect this form with the database. Now I'll be using Firebase. I think I'll be using Firebase for Angular database for hosting that. It's free. You can do that as well. And I'll show you how to set it up and everything. And we'll go step by step. But basically today, I hope you understand what reactive forms are, how you can use them, how you can build them, and how you can leverage their properties, their amazing properties to give you errors like password is required. Even if you enter, it says it should be 5 characters and all those things. I think this is very powerful. This is a very powerful feature, very powerful tool, and I hope you learned something new. And if you did, well, let us know in the comments down below and motivate us to create more such videos. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and until next time.